Hello and welcome to the Casual Code YouTube channel. In today's video I'll show you how to make a rain and thunder system that comes with camera shake. So to get this started, what you first want to do is go to plugins, and you probably don't have this plugin, but it's called Rain Editor, and I'm gonna link this in the description. But essentially what this does is that you open it up, and once you have the plugin installed, the pop-up should come up like this. And first of all, you want to press these two, so enabled and preview active, so we can see how the rain is. So we can change the color of the rain, but I prefer it to just be white. And then you can change how much the intensity of the rain should be. So I think I'm gonna place this at 0.6, and light emission I'm gonna, so you can see it's how much light actually gets into this rain. So I think about here is good. Light influence, just put that to 1. Speed ratio is how fast it's gonna be. So I think like this is pretty realistic, maybe a bit slow, like this. Transparency, we're just gonna set to 0, and volume is the actual like volume of the rain. So I'm just gonna set this to 0.1. And then this stuff down here you don't really need to do anything about. It's just a collision with the rain and stuff. So I'm just gonna set the transparency threshold to 1. But that is all for this, and you just press on the preview enable again, so it goes away. But now whenever you run the game, what you will see is that rain is here. And in starter player scripts there's a script called rain script. Okay, so now after getting the rain script, we need to get the actual camera shake module. This is a module in the toolbox. So what you do is you go to the search bar and you search camera shake. Maybe you have to do camera shaker actually. This is not the one. Let's try camera shaker. So camera shaker. And it is this module right here called camera shaker, and you just want to put this into the replicated storage. So now that you have the camera shaker, there's quite a bit we have to look on the camera shaker, but for now we're just gonna import everything, and then we're gonna take that later. Lastly, what I'm gonna import is a little template, and you can have your own. This is the one that I made. So I'm just gonna place this into, and you just make a folder called template, and you add a part or union or whatever into this one. So I just have this one to show it quick. Let's have this lightning strike right here. Essentially we want to show every time the lightning is called. I don't know why it's doing this, but it's a lightning strike. So let's go ahead and put this back into template, and you just want to call this template and this temp. Okay, so now let's have a look on the camera shaker, and inside this camera shaker you see there's actually 2 more module scripts. First one is camera shake instances, and this one we're not really gonna use much, so we can just remove this text if you want to shorten down the script. But we have to give a huge thanks to Stephen Lightnick, who made this module back in 2018. So essentially what all this does is just getting the numbers that you give in. So when you make a new camera shake, you have to give it 4 numbers. You have to give it the magnitude, the roughness, fade in time, and the fade out time. So it's basically just setting that plus some other stuff, and then all the math stuff is handled in this one. But there's not really anything we have to do in this instances. But inside of the camera shake presets, what you will see is there's quite a few different we can choose from here, presets we can choose from here. So there's camera shake, the presets.bump, explosion, earthquake, bad trip, blah blah blah. So the one I like the most is called explosion. So that's the one we're going to be using today, but essentially you can use whichever one you want. Just note that some of these should only happen once, and then some of these should be sustained. So basically you can see this bump, it says should happen once, but and it does as well with explosion, but if you go down to the earthquake it says sustained. So basically it should happen for a longer period of time until it's stopped again. You can play it once, but it's just recommended. So we actually can just delete all this again, but yeah, thanks to Stephen Leitnick for making this. And then this is basically all we need from the presets, so you can go ahead and close that. And then inside the actual camera shaker itself, we have some more commands here, which you can use if you want to modify this camera shaker, at least from my script. So what we have to do now is, you can read all of this if you want, but essentially what we just have to do now is, I'm gonna delete all of these because it's 60 lines and there's no point of having it in my code. Closing off the camera shaker, I'm going to inside of the started UI, I'm going to add a folder, and I'm gonna call it shaking client. And inside of this, I'm gonna add a local script. I'm just gonna call this shaker for now. Okay, so what we have to do in here is we have to get all the camera stuff, and then we have to start the actual camera shake, and then we have to bind that to an event. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna think about this. We need to define the camera. We'll say local camera. Actually, we'll say local current camera equals to workspace.current camera, and this is just the camera that the player has right now. We'll say camera shaker, and then we'll actually use the require method to import our camera shaker. So we just say require, and then we localize where it is. So mine is in replicated storage, so that's why I put replicated storage. So now every time we call the camera shaker, we're essentially calling this module over here. And then what I have to do now is, I'll make another folder in replicated storage, and I'll call this one shaker remotes. So now I'll define my shaker remotes. I'll say local RE for remote event equals game dot replicated storage dot shaker remotes dot and I think we actually then deleted it. I'm gonna call this remote event shaker RE. Dot shaker RE. Okay, and then at the top we're gonna add a wait 2. This is just to let everything load in. So we're just gonna wait 2 seconds, and then we're gonna run this. So yeah. Down here we have to actually get our shake now. So I'll say getting our shake. Say local cam shake equals to camera shaker, which is this one, this thing up here, dot new, which is one of the functions in the module. And now we have to give it our, actually we can see this in the module. We have to give it, you say right here, function camera shaker, and we have to give it the render priority, which is just the number. It says here it has to be a number, e.g. enum.renderpriority.camera.value. Okay, great. So what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna copy this, and we're gonna paste it in here, comma, and then we need to give it the callback. And the callback in our case is just gonna be a function, called shake fc. Okay, so now that we're done with this, we have our camera shaker, and what we can do is we can say current camera dot cframe times equals to the shake cf. So essentially the cframe of the current camera will be timed with the shake cf. So now what we got to do is, we got to start the camera module. We do that by saying camera shake start, like this. So now we have actually started. This won't actually do the shakes, but we have to start it before we can use it. And down here I'm just gonna say re.onClient event connect function, and then I'm gonna play the camera shake. I'm gonna say shake, and Then we need to give it the presets. So we have to say camera shaker dot presets dot explosion. So this should be all for the script. And what we've done here is we've set the on-client event. So this is whenever this is fired from another script. It has to be from a server script, because you fire from server to client and from client to server. So building onto this, let's go ahead and make the server script. So I'm going to go inside server script service, make a folder, and call this one shaker server. I'm just gonna call this one shaking handler. So essentially what we want to happen is we want the temp every time the camera is shaked. We want the temp to go to a random position on the base plate, and then it will be there for like a split second, and then it will disappear again, and then poof, the effects and everything will be there. So how we do this is we have to define a lot of things. So first of all, we have to get our RE, because that's the one that we're firing from. We're picking up the event from the other script, so we have to fire it from the script. So that's pretty easy. So let's start with that. Dot, and then let's see what we call it. We call it shaker remotes dot shaker RE. Now we can get our template. So we will say local template equals game get service, and I think we put this in replicate as well. Call it template dot temp right here. So this actually refers to the actual union I have. So then we'll say local function random position, and we'll give this one 3 numbers to go with. So we'll give it the x-axis, the y-axis, and the z-axis. And what we basically want is we want it to go to a random of these 3. But since the y-axis is gonna be 0 anyways, you could just put 0, but I'm just gonna do it for video purpose. So we're gonna say local x pos, which stands for x position, equals to x, local y pos equals to y, and local z pos equals to z. And then we're gonna set the local position equals to vector3 dot new x pos, comma y pos, comma z pos. Okay, so it's basically setting a position that is from these numbers, but currently we're not passing in any numbers. So whenever we fire this function, we have to give it the 3 numbers that we want, and then it will get a vector3, which is where it will put the thing, the clone when we make it, to that position on the base plate. So I hope that makes sense. And then to actually get our position from the function, we have to return the position after it's made. And then we make sure to end off this function. Down here, what we can do then is we can say, we can make another function, and this will be show strike, or show template actually. So this is the function where we're going to show our template in the workspace, because we have to, what we're going to do is you could just move it. So you could say like every time we light, then we just move the template into the workspace for a second, and then we move it back. But what we're going to do is we're going to make a clone of it, put it in a workspace, and then we're going to break that clone. And the way we have to do that, since we have to make a clone every time, we have to put it in function, so that every time we run the function, there's going to be a new clone. Because if you break a clone, you can't actually use that clone again. So we have to always make new clones. And we do that by every time running this function, making a new clone. So we'll say local lightning strike equals to template, and then we'll use the clone. So now lightning strike will be the clone of the template. So lightning strike dot position, and this is where the function from before comes in, equals to random position, and now we have to give it some numbers. So these are the x, y, and z position. So what we have to do here is I'm gonna get a random. If you want to set it to the same place every time, you can do that. You just put the numbers in, so like 13, 0, blah blah blah. But I want to be at random, so I'm gonna say math dot random 0, 500. So it would choose a random number from 0.500 on the x-axis. Then on the y-axis you can do the same thing, but I want the lightning strike to always hit the ground because it hits the ground in real life, and it's just to add realism. Like, you don't want it to be like halfway up in the air. So I'm gonna say 0, so it's always gonna be in the ground, because y-axis is the y-axis is the axis that goes up and down like this. And then you can see the red axis, which is the x-axis. So this is the x, and then this is the c. So the x and z, we can basically do whatever, because that's gonna be like on the ground somewhere like this. It can be anywhere here, but the y-axis, then it's gonna spawn like up there, so we don't want that. So I'm just gonna say 0, and then I'm gonna choose the z position, say minus 500 comma 500. So it's gonna choose a random position from that. Okay, so now that we have done this, we need to give it a name. So say lightning_strike.name equals to lightning strike, and we have to set the parent, of course, equals to workspace. So now that we've set it, all of this will go through, choose a position, it will choose a name for it, and then it will clone it to the parent, to the workspace after that, and we'll see it. So then we need to wait a little bit. So we're gonna say wait, and we don't want to wait that like really long, because that's gonna be the amount of time it's inside of the actual workspace, and we want it to just be there for a split second and then poof, disappear again. So we'll just do 0.75 seconds, which is the same as saying 0.5. So 0.75, and then we are going to lightning strike destroy. So then we're destroying the clone, and then when we run the function again, we're making a new lightning strike, because we're cloning again, because we're running this line of code again. So essentially we're just making a clone, breaking it, and then next time we run the script, breaking it, making a new clone, breaking it, and so on every single time we make it. So now we can make our little loop, which will be while true do, and then we will wait a random amount of time in between each shake. So I'm just gonna do 5,10. So it's gonna wait in between 5 to 10 seconds, and then show the lightning strike. So if you want the lightning strikes to be there more often, then you have to lower these numbers. If you want them to be there like less often, then you have to make these numbers higher. And then what we're gonna do now is we have to actually run the function that shows the template, because this function actually runs this function as well. So both the functions are ran when just calling this one. And now we can, if you had a sound effect, which I do in my other game, I have one called lightning strike. I'm just gonna copy this into this game, into sound service, and I'm gonna paste it in, and you can see the ID is right here. You can pause the video and put in the ID if you want, or you can find your own sound. So I'll say local sound equals to game get service sound service, not service, sorry, sound service dot lightning strike. So now we want to actually play our sound, so we say sound play. So we show the lightning strike, and then we play the sound, and after we play the sound we want the camera shake to be. So then we'll say RE fire client, or actually we don't, because then we have to specify client, so we just say fire all clients. So this will fire to all clients in the game. So that is the, I think this is all for the camera shake for now at least. So we're just gonna have to see if the camera shaker works. And just to add some realism to this world, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna make it nighttime. So I'll say time of day, and I'll set this to 1, and it's nighttime. So let's go ahead and try run this game. So quickly, I'm just gonna close this off. I'm gonna publish this to Roblox. I'm gonna call it lightning tutorial. It's because I'm getting a Roblox Studio bug that keeps on freezing my game after I press on the play. So we just want to save this so that if we have to use it later, we can open it up. You guys probably don't have the error, so you don't have to worry about it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna publish this to the game, this version around, and you can see that it says publish new changes, blah blah blah, and that means it is now updated. So now we can play the game. We can open output for any bugs that we get, and now we just wait. Okay. So I accidentally did a typo in here in the script. So I said call that back. So we have to fix that, but as you can see now my studio is bugged. So because we just saved it, then I can just go back into the file. Okay, so back in the game after restarting studio. What we're gonna do is, it doesn't know what callback is because I accidentally added an A, which is my bad. But if you go to and test it again now, then it should work. Everything should be up to date unless I did a spelling mistake. But we'll see. There we go, you can see the strike, and let's see if we can catch the thing when it's here. Actually, we can just see in a workspace. So you can see, yeah, we saw it there, and if I turn off the audio whipping, we can see that the lightning strike gets visible. It gets added here, and then it waits the 0.75 seconds, and then it disappears. So you can see that every time it comes, poof, camera shake, and the sound is played. So just to show you again, boom, it's here, and sound is played. Okay, that is all for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.